What's up, guys? This is Derek from moreplatesmoredates.com. This video is long overdue. It's the vertical diet update from my last one. If you saw the last update, basically what had happened was I delved into my blood work and talked about my cholesterol was the main concern. So if you've been following the vertical diet log I've been running, everything's completely exactly how Stan would want it. I'm having 1 pound of lean 90-10 ground bison per day. I'm having the eggs. I'm having everything. I noticed my cholesterol jumped from, let's see here. It went from it's funny because one of my doctors told me that cholesterol needs 3 months before it can be adjusted in your blood work, before your body adapts. And that was absolutely not the case. I had my blood work done on, what was it? September 15th. And this was before the vertical diet started. So September 15th, my total cholesterol was 3.36 millimoles per liter. LDL cholesterol was 2.46 millimoles per liter. HDL was a bit in the toilet, 0.63 millimoles per liter, needed to go up, and that was part of the reason why I was doing the vertical diet in the first place, was to see if I could bring that number up. And then my triglycerides were okay, but HDL was too low. Everything else was okay. HDL needed to go up about 0.36 millimoles per liter to be acceptable by laboratory range standards. So I was hoping that adding these foods in, that basically my diet was pretty much absent of dietary cholesterol prior to starting the vertical diet. So I was hoping that, all these healthy fats, all this food I had been depriving myself of prior, basically all I ate was lean chicken, egg whites, whey, stuff like that prior to the vertical diet. Nothing with significant saturated fat or anything like that. And my diet was very, very low on healthy fats. So I was hoping I could bring that up with this diet. HDL is greatly affected by testosterone replacement therapy. So that's likely why mine is in that spot in the first place. But hardcore supplementation with citrus bergamot and things that would address that and just living a healthy lifestyle were not fixing it to the extent that it needed to be fixed. So, that was one of the main goals of the vertical diet. If you saw my first entry on week 1, I talked about that in decent detail, I think. So obviously, one thing that was concerning going into this diet was there's a lot of preconceived notions about red meat and eggs, and if they're bad or good for you. A lot of people talking about, plaque buildup in the arteries, talking about inflammation, talking about just your LDL getting cranked through the roof. I wanted to see for myself, because there's a lot of people who have conflicting opinions on this, whether they be vegans versus carnivore diet people or whatever. There's a lot of people that have strong opinions but haven't done blood work on themselves. Granted, everyone has their own genetic predisposition. People with certain genes and alleles and certain things like that are just going to have high cholesterol via their own genetic predisposition and accompanied with their dietary choices. So some guy that has, a certain amount of dietary cholesterol could have his spike significantly just due to his genetics, and another guy could have his perfect, eating like crap. So I wanted to see what would happen in myself, because there's too many people giving out blanket statements of eggs are healthy, red meat's fine, or red meat isn't healthy and eggs aren't fine. So I wanted to see for myself. I was eating a pound of 90-10 lean ground bison per day, grass-fed. Not that I think that makes a difference, but it was lean. It was red meat. It was the highest quality you can get. And then 4 eggs. Not egg whites, but eggs. So as I said, LDL and total cholesterol were good. They were in range. They were pretty perfect. About 4 weeks later, maybe a bit longer than that actually, it was so the first bloods were done September 15th. I got bloods done again on October 27th. And what came back was kind of crazy. So my cholesterol basically doubled and went up to 4.77 millimoles per liter, which is too high, obviously. 3.74 millimoles per liter was my LDL. So this is way too high, obviously. Like, this was not good. Something in my diet is making this spike because I've never had cholesterol or LDL way out of range. So I'm thinking in my head at this point, and my HDL only went up to 0.79. So it was still too low, even with all these changes in the diet, with all these foods. And then my cholesterol to HDL risk ratio went way up, obviously. Or it got a bit better because the HDL went up a little bit, but it was obviously that slight boost of going up like 0.16 millimoles per liter is nothing to write home about. It's not good to have your LDL and total cholesterol double in order to get a 0.16 boost. And your HDL, definitely risk to reward, or pros and cons, it wasn't worth it. So my LDL and cholesterol were significantly out of range and they needed to come down. So if you saw my last update, that's basically what I talked about. And what I did after that was I wanted to see if red meat versus eggs, I want to know what is causing the cholesterol to go up. I don't want to cut them both out at the same time, because at that point you're basically sacrificing the accuracy of your assessment of what's going on. If you cut out both and everything gets fixed, how are you going to determine which of them was causing your issues? So basically what my plan was to drop all 4 of the eggs, but keep the red meat in, and then get bloods done again. And then if my levels were still too high, I'd be able to tell exactly how much they went down, if any, and then cut out the red meat and then do another blood panel a few weeks later and then see. So October 27th was that horrendous blood test that my LDL and total cholesterol had doubled and they were out of range. Definitely not acceptable at that spot. So November 20th, I get bloods done again. So this is about 3 weeks later only. So despite what my doctor's telling me, he's saying, you can't get bloods done again in two or 3 weeks. That's nothing. You need to wait he was literally telling me I need to wait a year to get them done again for them to be accurate. And obviously the body changes quickly when there's dietary changes. You work through these things pretty quick. If you make a significant change in your diet, it's going to be reflected in your blood work within weeks. So I got my bloods done about 3.5 weeks later, and I figured that was more than enough time personally. What happened was really interesting. So I cut out 4 eggs. That's the only thing that changed. Red meat, I'm still eating a pound of red meat a day. My cholesterol went down to 2.79 millimoles per liter. So that's perfect. LDL, 1.7 millimoles per liter. Better than it's ever been, or way better than it was 3 weeks ago, that's for sure. And it's definitely in range now, and it's actually on the low end of the range. HDL cholesterol only went down 0.2 to 0.77, which is good. And then everything else is perfect. I also did, a lot of people are going to ask about, well, what about inflammation? That's one of the main concerns when it comes to these types of foods, especially red meat. So I wanted to see, in addition, I was thinking, okay, well, I'm cutting out eggs. I'm getting bloods done, which is going to be indicative of what red meat on its own does. So why don't I pay to get my C-reactive protein checked as well? Specifically, the high sensitivity test. It's the one you want. So did a high sensitivity C-reactive protein test to see how much inflammation is in my body caused by eating 1 pound of red meat a day. Keep in mind, this is high quality red meat. This is not like McDonald's. So my C-reactive protein was less than 0.3 milligrams per liter. And when I say less than, I mean their detection limit is 0.3. So they couldn't even read my C-reactive protein because my inflammation was so low. So, their reference range starts at 4.8. So they say if you have less than 4.8, then you're considered healthy. But obviously the lower the better. You don't want any inflammation in your body. That's going to be causing, that's where you get heart disease starts. That's the main thing, and the cause of many other autoimmune conditions and lots of issues in your health. So that was big for me because I was really worried about that. Having a pound of red meat a day, I had no idea how that was going to impact my C-reactive protein. But confirmed via blood work, even having the dextrose post-workout still, having, the sporadic orange juice throughout the day, having the cranberry juice. Like, there's a significant amount of sugar in the vertical diet, in my opinion. Very concerning amount, in my opinion. But I suppose if you're an athlete who trains hard and can make use of that, it's not as unhealthy as somebody who's sedentary and is taking in that sugar. You know what I mean? It actually gets put to use to rebuild and, refuel, replenish glycogen stores very quickly. And it doesn't really overspill into causing significant health issues based on my blood work, at least. So I can't say for certain, but like obviously having dextrose with fructose post-workout and like having all these shots of sugar throughout the day were kind of a concern for me in combination with red meat, which is like on paper, or what a lot of people would assert is like the ultimate combo for heart disease and like major issues. But inflammation was not even detectable for me. So that was a relief because I was pretty concerned about that. And then the cholesterol was like amazing. It had completely fixed itself just by eliminating eggs. So what did I conclude via those last 3.5 weeks? It was my body can't handle eggs, apparently. And not to say you shouldn't eat eggs. I just think you should get your own blood work to see how your body responds. But it's pretty interesting to me that I can get away with still eating all that red meat, and it was the eggs, entirely the eggs. Like, it had nothing to do with the red meat at all, which is totally contrary to what most people would try and tell you. You know what I mean? Most people say, oh, eggs aren't that bad. Like, they're not going to do much. They're not going to do much. Like, for me, they literally doubled my LDL in, like, weeks. And then eliminating them, literally halved them in 3 weeks again. So, obviously, eggs are not going to be in my diet now. What am I doing to replace the things I would normally get from the eggs? The choline I get from my supplement, Gorilla Mind Smooth, which has no stimulants in it. So that has 600 milligrams of alpha GPC per serving, which is enough, in my opinion, to fulfill your daily choline needs. As far as vitamin K2, I think that was one of the things from the eggs. It's been a while since I got that blood work done because I took way too long to put this video out, but like these bloods were done almost a month ago or like 3 weeks ago. So actually, let's see, November 20th. Yeah, so it was a while ago. Right now it is December 15th as I'm recording this. So the vitamin K2 I'm getting from supplement now, MK7 version specifically. I think it was MK4, MK2. There was less optimism about, so I opted for the MK7 version. And then what was the other thing? Biotin. I have a supplement I use, super cheap, really easy to get that in. So I wasn't too concerned. It's not like the eggs were an integral part of hitting my daily nutritional requirements. So eliminating them wasn't too big of a blow to my overall quality of life because I can replace those physiological needs with very cheap supplements that are proven to work. So I'm not too concerned about that, but really interesting blood work update. As far as what has happened after that moving forward, because it's been another like 3.5 weeks since that blood work. It's now like week 14, 15 or something. I'm still doing the vertical diet. The only thing that's changed is getting rid of the eggs. And as of more recent, I've added in psyllium husk fiber because I want to hit my soluble fiber requirements easier. And I just feel like that's a good thing to have in there. Hasn't hindered my digestion. If anything, it's helped it. I guess this is going to vary individual to individual because some people, they don't like fiber. It doesn't work out well for them. Some people think fiber is like the devil. Some people think it's necessary. But anyways, it's working well. I feel really good. I wake up in the morning and I'm way more rejuvenated than I would be otherwise. Prior to the diet, I feel a lot better. Quality of life is up. Energy levels are up. Thyroid is looking good, actually. I had an updated panel done I'm still waiting to get my thyroid peroxidase antibodies back, my thyroglobulin antibodies, and my reverse T3, because those tests are not common. They take a while to get back, but I'm waiting for the outcome of those. But T3, my free T3, is at, let's see, it was low not that long ago, and it's at 3.59 picomoles per liter, I believe is the unit, and that's not great, but it's not bad. Like, ideally, I would be at 5, which I'm going to work on, ideally, because I don't want to be on medication, but it's definitely better, and it's definitely not blatantly deficient, which is something I was on the borderline when I started the vertical diet in the first place. So I also added in a selenium supplement as well, I should probably mention, just to help with the thyroid stuff, to make sure everything is being fulfilled to, top-notch standards in order to maximize my thyroid function, stimulation of all the hormones that need to be converted and whatnot. So hopefully more positive updates for you guys in the near future. Everything, I'm pretty happy with everything, honestly. I think it should be noted, though, that you could have like significantly hindered bloods from the eggs if you're prone like me to just like wrecked lipids, especially if you're on TRT. So I would get that checked if you're on the vertical diet or if you just eat eggs in general. Check your cholesterol levels consistently, at least a couple times a year. Get an EKG done, get an echocardiogram, get all your stuff checked. This isn't stuff to mess around with. You don't want to have... Get your C-reactive protein checked too, because inflammation is going to be like the predetermining factor for a lot of these things that are going to happen down the road cumulatively. So, takeaway message, check your bloods, get your health in order, and make sure everything you're eating, just because what one guy does, it doesn't mean it's going to work for you, and your genetics might dictate that you have a totally different response than another guy. So just because some guy says eggs are fine, doesn't mean it's going to be fine for you. So keep tabs on your bloods. And thank you guys for watching. If you want to keep following my vertical diet log, you can check it out in written form on moreplates.com, or you can just follow here on YouTube and subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you want to stay updated when I post. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.